Good morning and thank you for joining on a Sunday. Really appreciate you guys giving your time. Till yesterday we were working with activities, and in activity we tried out creating new pages and also operations where you can set properties with some values. We did using the property set method, how you can call another activity from one activity, how the control moves there is something which we understood. Along with that, we also tried out branch and queue of activity, and we saw how exactly that works as well. That was something which we completed till yesterday. Today, we'll take one step ahead, kind of a further jump in understanding what are OBJ methods in Pega, right? There's something called as OBJ methods in Pega. What is that? We'll try to understand. Okay, creating a shared folder. Okay, why is it even asking that? OBJ methods in Pega. So, if you remember, just going back to what we had created, when we did the data type or data layer class, we did create this states table, yes or no? Do we remember this states table being created? And then we added states code and states name, two properties to it. And then under records, we went and we added the state code, state name, and these values. And we also told that the key will be the state code. Do we remember doing all this? And then we also saw that Pega automatically created a data class for us, alpha-data-states table. We just came here and did create a data type, and then Pega automatically created a data class for us. Yes or no? I can open this data class, and this is the data class which came up. Right? And for example, if I want to know which table this is mapped to, what will I do? Very good. So you have to do test connection to understand which table this is mapped to. And I understand that this particular table has been mapped to data dot pr underscore alpha underscore data underscore states table. This is the table to which this particular class is mapped to. Do we agree? Yes? No? Okay, let's query this thing in my PG admin, the Postgres admin, and see what does it have. So when I query this, it gives me list of data which we have there. If you see, it is telling me state code and state name. Other thing is like metadata, don't worry about that. KA Karnataka, TN Tamil Nadu, TS Telangana, MS Maharashtra. This was the data we inserted there, right? Do we agree? We added this data here. Yes, no. Perfect. Is everyone with me? Yes, no. Perfect. Now let us say this data is sitting in your database, okay? And then you want to read this data or get this data from database on one of the pages, okay? How can we do that? To achieve such functionality where the data is present in database and you want to pull out it onto one of the pages, how can you achieve such functionality in Pega? To achieve such functionality, there are something called as OBJ methods. OBJ methods are used to fetch or perform database interactions with Pega's internal DB. Everyone with me? So obj methods are, these are also methods which in activity which you can use to perform. What do you perform? To fetch data from DB. What is the data? For example, if I want to fetch the states code and states name from database, right now this data is sitting in database, right? And in this table, yes or no? Do we agree? Right, this data is sitting here. Now if this data has to be popped up on any of the pages, if I want to pull this data on any of these pages, I need to use obj methods. So Pega provides different set of obj methods. I will show you, we'll be going over few important obj methods which are widely used and very important. The first obj method I want to introduce you is called as obj browse. So this table has, for example, this table has this data, state code and state name. Let us say this data is which we are working with. Now let us try to understand what obj browse does, and there are other methods also. I'll show you that. This is the data we are trying to fetch, right? St code, state name and state code. This is the data we are trying to deal with. Now we are saying obj browse is a method using which you can fetch data from database is what we are saying. What other methods are there? There is obj browse, there is obj hyphen open, there is obj hyphen open hyphen by hyphen handle, obj open by handle. What are these? We'll see them, don't worry about that. Just look at them as if these are some methods which we are going to look at. There is something called as obj hyphen save. We'll see practically how each and every method behaves. Okay, don't worry about that. And there is something called obj delete. Okay, what is browse? Just normally understanding, what do you mean by browse? Like if someone comes to you and he's looking at you, you are using your phone, you'll be like, hey, I'm browsing the internet, is what you will say, right? Same thing is true here. Obj browse is, it means, like, by the term, if you go, it means object browse. But what it's trying to do is it's browsing a database for some data. That's what it means. And while it browses, for example, if you are using obj browse in Pega, that means you are fetching multiple records. You are fetching multiple records for a list of properties. Okay, for example, if I do obj browse on this table, I will get all these records, at least more than one. When I want more than one record, I will use obj browse. If I need more than one record, that means I want list of records, I will use obj browse method. Similarly, obj open, if I want to fetch only one single record, fetching only one single record, we will use obj open. For example, what is the state name for state code KA? Only one single record, KA in Karnataka, one record. Then I will go for obj open. We'll see this also, just understand the definition for now. Obj open by handle. This is, you want to fetch one single record based on the primary key. What is the primary key in our states table? PZ key. Okay. When we designed the states table, we also chose a key, right? State code, right? So there is, every table will have a primary key. Every table will have a primary key. For Pega tables, predominantly it is PZINS key. I mean, the key is being called as PZ. When we did the properties, we understood that, you know, PZ is something for Pega's internal properties. Yes or no? Primary key or PZINS key. Did we understand that if we see PZ as the prefix, it is usually for Pega's internal purpose, or those properties are Pega internal properties which are built. Well, don't worry about that. So what you have to understand from this thing is, browse is to browse more than one record, open is to get one single record, open by handle. Handle means like you have a handle on it, in the sense you have a key using which you want to access that particular record. That's what it means. Obj save is, for example, you did some changes and you want to save it to the database. Then to insert or update records, you will use this. To insert or update records, we will use this. Where will we insert or update? On the table. On the table, to insert or update, we will be using this. There is one obj delete also. This is when we want to delete something, you know, to delete records. Nothing fancy, very simple, right? Perfect. So now we understood, uh, we do have a few methods using which we can perform obj operations, right? Now let's try to jump into the console and understand how exactly, this particular method works, right? Like yesterday, how did we debug and understood that? Let's try to do that. So to do that, today we'll try to fetch this state codes and state name through a activity. Okay, and then let us see how exactly it will help us. Where's this guy? Okay, perfect. I come here to my Pega console and come to the App Explorer. How will I create an activity? Under which category does activity come under? Very good. So on technical, under my work class, I am coming on technical, and I can say create a activity. Yes or no? See, this will give me a form to write a activity, and let us say I will call it fetch states activity. Okay, I want to fetch the states. I want to keep it as an activity, right? Fetch states activity. I want to fetch the states. Belongs to auto insurance application, and work class, create and open. Perfect. So now this gave me a form where I am able to, create a activity. Now I have created activity. Now what I want to do here is I want to fetch records from this particular uh, table. What is this table? This is PR alpha data states table, and it has these many records: 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 records I want to fetch in this activity onto a page. Let us see how I can do it. To do that, as we said, the method which we will be using is obj hyphen. If we need more than one record, what method did we say we have to use? Browse. Perfect. Do I see obj browse here? When I say obj hyphen and click on this drop down, am I able to see obj browse? One thing you should understand is, right now, if I, without selecting that, if I expand this, you will see there is nothing, could not be found, or it loads nothing here. Once I choose the method, sorry, see, obj browse, I'm shortlisting this to obj browse. Now the context for this particular step is set. Now we know that we want to do obj browse. Based on that, Pega automatically is giving me what are the parameters which are expected for this method. Are you able to understand, guys? All we did was created an activity, and we are saying we want to use obj browse method. Yes or no? Now I want to So the first step here tells you want to do obj browse, and in the methods, if you see the first parameter it is asking is page name. This page name is the page on top of which you want these results. For example, when you are fetching something from a database, you are getting a set of records. Where do you want to keep it? This page is the place where you will be keeping it. So I'm trying to fetch that data from there. So I'll call this as a fetch page. Okay. So I want the data which I'm fetching should come and sit on this. Okay. And what is the table of what is the class of the table which we are trying to access here? Which class does this belong to? Very good. Data states table, right? Alpha hyphen data hyphen states table. Sir, no. Okay. So right now we are not doing it based on a key, right? Key is when we have to do uh, obj by handle. So I'll disable this for now. Okay. Key would be necessary when you want to do that. So for sometimes your table might have zillions of records, like 10,000 records, but that would be a very expensive operation. You can limit those records also. You can specify a number here which will limit those records. Right now I don't want to because I have very limited records. We just have 4 to 5 records. So I will keep it as it is. All that I did was created an activity and chose obj browse method. Yes or no? Yes, right. So now I know what all fields are I want to fetch as part of this thing, right? When I'm trying to execute this query, what do I want? I want the states code. Yes or no? Also, I want the state's name. Do we agree? We want both these records. We want the state's code as well as state's name. First, you specify on which page you want the data you are extracting. What is the class to which this particular table is mapped. Next thing, what all attributes do you want? Right now we just had states code and states name. That's why we are just getting these values. Few tables you might create will have more than state code and state name. For example, if you see a data layer, there is something called as vehicle. In vehicle, you have more properties. You will be fetching more properties, right? There is something called VIN, stuff like that. Let us take a look, quick look. See, it has brand, model, make, creations, win. These many properties are there. But our states table has only two properties. So we need to fetch these two properties. Do we understand why we are putting these properties here, references here? Because we are fetching this data from database. Yes or no? Perfect. All that we did here is we told in an activity, I want to browse. Here, the first step we are telling, hey, Pega, can you create me an activity called fetch states activity? And then I want to invoke a obj browse method through this activity. I want to use this page to pull records from this table, and I want records of states code and state name. This is what we are seeing. Well, I hope this is simple enough to understand. Let me save this, and to understand it much better, let's try to run this and see what exactly does this have to offer, right? What should I have to do to understand what values are getting set on the page? Very good. So whenever I run, I can trace it to understand what exactly is being set on this particular page. So I'm trying to execute the fetch states activity. I want to trace it also parallelly. I'm starting the tracer and I'm saying run. Success. Perfect. Well, the execution has happened. Yes or no? Yes or no? Only one step is there. One step got completed. Let's try to click on line number 3 and see. See, it tells it's got executed. Because we didn't specify the step page, we don't see any page here, but we definitely pointed to a page, right? What was the page which we created, which we are using to fetch the data? Is it fetch page? Yes or no? So let's try to find this page on clipboard and see, has this data arrived on that? To find that, I'll go to clipboard and I'll switch to standard thread and let me look for fetch page. Help me find the fetch page, guys. Am I able to find the fetch page? Everyone, are we able to find the fetch page? Very good, right? And very interesting thing which you should be also noticing here is this page, fetch page, belongs to code Pega list. The pxobj class is code Pega list. Perfect. Let's try to expand this. Do we see something called as px results under fetch page? This is my fetch page. And it is also telling the result count is 4. Yes or no? And now when I click on px results, I see px results of 1. And the px results of 1 pxobj class is state stable and it is containing the first value Ka and Karnataka. Whenever we see this indexes, what does it tell us about this? What sort of property is this? When we did pages, we did understand what is a property, single value properties, what is a page. What was the next topic we did along with that? Very good. So did we say that page lists are something when you have multiple records, it will be separated by indexes? Yes or no? Do we understand what is a page list here? List of records, when you have more than one record to be fetched, then you will see that it will be coming as page list. Whenever you fetch records using Obj-Browse, you will, when you have more than one records to be fetched, it will come like this through a page list, and you will see it is separated by indexes. Though the parent page which you will be using will be of code Pega list. It will be of code Pega list. However, every index of that page list will be a page, like fetch page.px results 1 is a page which has Karnataka and K, and this belongs to state stable class. Same thing is true for px results of 2, px results of 3, px results of 4, px results of n. Does it make sense, guys? Are we able to understand? Yes, no? Very good. So very important, right? Obj browse is a method using which I can fetch multiple records from database. Am I having all the records which are present in my database? K, T N T S Maharashtra, all these were fetched and brought to clipboard. Yes or no? We are seeing all those records in clipboard. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what did you do? You literally communicated with the database but just with one line of code. Do we agree? How many lines of code did we write here? One line of code. Isn't it like really interesting? Like if you can pull out list of records. For example, if I have to pull out in the similar way, if I know which exact table the Aadhaar card numbers are mapped to, I can create a OBJ browse and hit that table and pull out all those records, right? Can I? By writing an activity? Can I do that? Right? Simple enough. I just need to tell what all table values I want. I want the first name, last name, stuff like that I can specify here. and I can fetch that. Whenever you use obj browse, you are telling Pega that you want a list of data is what you want to fetch from the database. More than one record is what you're trying to fetch from the database. That is why what Pega does is automatically when you specify a page here, though the object class was this thing, you see Pega by default changes that particular uh, parent page to code Pega list, in the sense Pega understands that you are fetching a list of records. That's why this is a out of the box class to which it is mapping. It is telling this parent page is of code Pega list type, and under which you will be having single instances of this particular class, which is the states table. This data is a single instance present in states table. Yes or no? Do we agree? So the structure is like that: code Pega list, under which you will have your concrete class. States table 1, states table 2, 3, 4. Do we see how exactly the data is coming out in a page list? This is px results. This is the out of the box page list property which Pega is using to list the entire data which was present in database. It pulled it and it has structured it in this way. Was it understood, guys? Yes or no? Perfect. Let us see if we can copy this. Very important. If you understand this right, playing with data becomes very easy for you. Almost 80% of public fails in understanding this thing. How exactly data is fetched in a page list and how exactly it comes to a clipboard. Very simple. Nothing complex about that. And we accomplished that just by running one step in an activity. We ran this one step, right? And then we are able to fetch this. Now we have the data on clipboard, right? This data is available on clipboard. Yes or no? Do we agree? Yes. Do we agree that this data is in clipboard? Right? Fetch page. Fetch page has 4 records. The result count is telling me 4 records have come. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Perfect. Let us try to see if we can do something interesting with our user interface. Let me go to my work class and expand my user interface and go to the section customer details section. This is where we were using states code, right? Yes or no? Right, let's come down. So if you see, we are using states code here. Let me open this and see what is this property which we are using, right? If you see, we designed this property and we specified these values as static list, right? A list which is already predefined. Let me open this property and you will see that we have specified certain values. A prompt list, we had already specified these values. Yes or no? Karnataka, Telangana and Tamil Nadu, right? We had specified these values telling that this is a simple list. We told pick list or prompt list and then we chose these values. We did this. Let us try to replace this, okay? And or see, we'll say none. Now we lost those values. We have removed those values from the property. We are sourcing that data from directly from the property. Now we are telling we don't want to use that directly from the property. Right now when you go to customer details section and say submit, save, okay, now you see it is defaulting to option 1. Now the data is not available here. Do we agree? Yes. No, guys, let me execute and show you. See, the states code data is not available anymore. Why? Because I removed that static list, a temporary list which we had built, I removed it. So now, however, for this it is available because this is a temporary list which is present there. It is available. The state code, the state list is not available. Everyone with me? Yes? No? So, and we also know that we had already fetched that data and it is available in my clipboard. On my clipboard, I had fetched that data from database and it is available on my clipboard. So no, is there. Now, what we are trying to do here is how exactly can we source such that particular cell with the data which is available on clipboard is what we are trying to achieve here. Fetch page is still there on my clipboard. Where px results. See, all that data is there. We removed the static list. That's why we are not able to see that data here. Now, my goal is how can I, refer that data or source that data on this particular drop down. Yes or no? Are you able to understand, guys? Perfect. Going further from here. So nothing fancy. We just took one of the data types, saw what data is present in database for that. Based on that, we are trying to see how exactly can we understand this better by using that particular data. And we are exploring the obj browse method. What obj browse helped us with, it fetched all the records from the table and brought it and set it up on my clipboard page with px results, where I could see all the data appearing. Yes or no? We saw that, right? Yes or no, guys? Perfect. Now, to be able to source that data here on this particular tab, in the customer details section, you need to do one small change. What is that? Under the pages and classes, I need to tell what page I want to use to fetch that data. My data is in, where is my data? Is it under fetch page.px results? Yes or no? Right? Let us say it is under that and it belongs to this class. Save. I'm saying, hey, I want to use this page.px results because I feel like that data is here and I want to source this particular field with that. Yes or no? Okay. Now, let me open the properties of this guy, right? And I don't want this to be a drop down. Mm, state property control. What is this control? Okay, this drop down. Perfect. Mm, let us come back here. And then what I want to do here is I want to source that data here. Uh, Let me say include placeholder. Okay. And I think I can write something. I can say, we can say include a placeholder is nothing but is a value which you can specify. Select state is what I will say. Right. And state. Okay, perfect. Looks good. And do you see the bottom piece where it tells what is the source for this list? Drop down is a list, right? When do you have drop down? When you have more than one value, you will have drop down. Yes or no? and that should be a list. That's why it is telling what is the list source is what it is asking. In the list source, I will say in the source type I will select where is this page available? Clipboard. Do I have an option to choose clipboard page here? Right. Let me say I want to use this clipboard page. Okay. As soon as I say clipboard page, see few other options got popped up. Yes or no? Okay. Very good. And we know what page it is, right? Am I able to get that page? Why I am able to see this page here is because I have included that in the pages and classes. People don't add there and then they try to search here. Sir, I'm sorry, I'm not able to find that page here. Why? Because you have not added that in the pages and classes. Does it make sense why we need to add it in pages and classes? Okay, perfect. We'll come back again, but see how exactly you can stitch this together. Now when I choose this thing, I get two other options: run a data transform, run a activity. I will say run a activity. I know which activity will run, right? Which activity is fetching me all this? Fetch states activity? Yes or no? What I'm saying, whenever you come to this drop down, I'm saying choose this data from clipboard page, but this clipboard page will be populated with this particular results which is achieved by running this pre-activity. Means whenever the user is going to come to this drop down, when he comes to this drop down, this activity will be executed, and whenever we execute this activity, what will happen, guys? What will happen? Obj browse will happen. It will go and browse the records, fetch and bring it for us. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Able to understand? Okay. Very tiny. I mean, I haven't chosen a very complex example. I know it is like we are stitching too many concepts together, but this is the beauty of learning it this way. You are doing using none of the coding languages here. You're just using like mind, logic, and basic English to code this. Stop me and tell me no, that's not true. Any one of you guys. No, sir, it's not that simple. Tell me. I'll come again. Don't worry. So what we did, we created a fetch states activity which will do a obj browse, go to the database, fetch the records and bring that. So we understood how to fetch the records from database. After that, what did we do? We came back to our customer details section. We were loading the states data like through a static table by using a property. Yes or no? Were we doing that? What we did, we just went and deleted that. We told, okay, we don't want to use static table. At runtime, we want to fetch this data from database. Is my requirement. At runtime, when the user is navigating, I want to fetch this data from the database. That was my requirement. To achieve that, what I did, I removed what was configured. From there, I told, hey, I have built an activity which performs a browse and fetches the records at runtime. But to do that, what I want to do is I want to change the list source to clipboard page, and the results will be available on this particular page. Whenever the user comes to this particular drop down, I want to run an activity at the background which fetches all the data, and on the UI, the property state code, the display will be the state name. At the back end, I want to state the state code is what I'm saying here. That's what I'm saying. And then I told submit. Any of you, if you have not understood, ask me. I'll try to execute this and show you, and then from there We'll try to see if you have understood it or not. Okay, I saved this. How can I execute this through a flow? How can I view this through a flow? I do have a flow for this, right? Under my process category, I have a flow where I'm using my customer section. Yes or no? Customer details section is something which I am using, right? I have configured the customer details section on one of the flow actions. Yes or no? This customer flow action is using customer details section. If I open this, you will see that it is using customer details section. Yes or no? Guys, make sense? Perfect. So hope you guys are you seeing how we are stitching the concepts together since the day one, how we have started and how we are stitching it together? Well, that's the interesting part of it. No worries. So let us try to run this particular flow and understand in a much better way what exactly we are trying to do here. Close, close. Okay. I'm trying to execute this flow. This should create me a new work object. C 2001. Yes or no? Then 5 mail Bangalore, or let's say Hyderabad. You see this? Are you able to see this, guys? Getting loaded? Yes or no? Okay, it's TS Telangana. Now let me say submit and let's try to go and see what exactly appears on clipboard for this particular work object. 2001. Where can I go and check the details of this particular work object? Very good. Very good. UI work page. Yes or no? Right, I have this thing, and also if you try to see the state, right? Control F. See, do you see what is getting captured here? It is not giving you the entire big name, it is just giving you the code. Yes or no? I'll show you why this is happening also. This is happening because if you see my section, I am telling in this section on this drop down, hey, whenever you are trying to choose, do this thing for me. When the customer picks, show him the name. Property for display text, show the state name. Property for value, in the sense when you're trying to store in the database, save just the code. When he chooses, though he is choosing Telangana, he the at the back end we are storing that as a code. Yes or no? Isn't it cool, guys? Are you guys able to understand how exactly one activities obj browse method can help you optimize the entire application to such a great level? You see how small the change was? All we did today was created this obj browse, and we understood what goes inside that. It needs a page where it can pull the data and put the data. It needs a class, and then what fields you're trying to extract is what we told here. That's it, we told. And then we ran that and saw how exactly records get fetched and come on to clipboard. We saw that individually standalone we ran and saw. After that, to understand this better, what did we do? We came to customer flow, and We tried running this. Yes or no? In which we also saw how it is creating this particular drop down. Right now when I try to run it through actions, it will be creating C2002, I guess, right? When I trace, I'll be able to see that at runtime we are having the drop down get loaded. Yes or no? See, C2002, another work object was created. And if we go and see the tracer, we probably will see, let us try to look for fetch. Control F. Let me close this because it kind of slows down. Uh, that's not like pretty mandatory. Just want to show you in another this thing also, but that's fine. But did we understand what is OBJ browse all about? How exactly we can fetch the records using OBJ browse? Is that a takeaway, guys, for today? It's perfect. So this way we have OBJ open and other methods also. We'll explore that. But today we understood how using OBJ browse we can fetch records from a database, right? We are able to fetch records from a database, these all these records from database. And what we were able to do, we are also able to map such change. For example, this was the only step we had, and we used this activity. We learned how to write activity, but we also saw where exactly we can use the activity, right? To load the data for this particular drop down, we used activity. Yes or no? On the customer details section which we had designed, we told the states tables data is coming from a static list which we had defined on the property. We don't want that, right? We didn't want that for this state. If you see, country also has a static list. Yes or no? This is a static list which we have built inside. If that data is available in database, I can pretty much do the same thing and load the data how we did it for state, right? Yes or no? We can fetch country data also like that, right? Do you guys agree? Yes, right, perfect. So that is what we tried to achieve here. We created one activity, we used that activity, we put that activity into action by changing this drop down from static list to dynamic list. At runtime, when the case is getting created, the work object is getting created, that is when the data is getting fetched from the database. Tomorrow, if that data gets changed in the database, you know, no worries, because you're fetching it through activity, it will pull all the list. However, if you have a static list, every time any data changes, you have to come here and change that static list. Yes or no? See, you can overcome that problem just whenever the data changes in database. No need to worry for you, because this goes and fetches the entire result. Px fetch page.px results page list has details of all those details. All the results will be coming in this. Irrespective if you change, it will come with the fresh results. Do we agree, guys? What we did, we modified that property. We told, include a placeholder, in the sense when you select, just give a selection there, tell that select state. Okay, we told that there, and then we told the source will be clipboard page, right? We told the source will be clipboard page, and this is the page he should be looking up for. Pega should look for this page on clipboard, which will have data for state, right? And we'll be running this activity to fetch that data. At the background, this activity is running, fetching that data and populating that drop down with state names. Whenever the user is choosing a state name at the backend while saving, we are using state code to save it. See, save that using state code, but will display show the state name. Is that not which is happening here, guys? Yes or no? Tell me if you have not understood this. I can go over again. I love explaining these topics. Any doubts, guys? See, Karnataka, select state, Karnataka. When you go back onto the clipboard and see, it would have saved it with the state code. It doesn't have to save the entire big name. It will just save it through the state code. KA is what it should be taking in. Let us verify that. Control F, state. See? Does it make sense, guys? It was Obj-Browse understood, how to debug that understood, how exactly the data comes and sits on your clipboard page understood. Yes or no? See, fetch page is available on my clipboard page. PX results. See, those the data has been fetched and it is available on the clipboard. And we also understood how we can use activities to source a certain drop down. The data is being used here. At runtime, you are fetching the data from database and populating on UI. Any questions, guys? Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Automation is for processes where uh, you have robotics included, where you don't want any manual intervention. It's a slightly advanced topic. We'll be scratching that right now. Just understand that activity is to run any business logic. You will be using activity. Automation is when, for example, you will have zero involvement by yourself. What is automation ultimately? If you have your robotic automation in your home, you will see that your lights will go off automatically. For example, when you use a bathroom in an advanced hotel or something, when you show your hands, it starts giving you water. Yes or no? Have we see that? What is that? It is automation, because it is sensing your presence there. Same thing is true in application development also. Whenever you want to automate, where you have want to have zero human intervention, the human should not be involved. Everything should be handled by the system only. The system sees, for example, a case is in the a pending status. It will automatically go and check if the party is present or not, and then it will change the status to party available pending with the customer, like that. The system is smart enough to do that. That's when you will be using automation. We will be seeing that, but right now it is advanced topic. That's why I don't want to explain it right here. Perfect. Anything else, guys? Yes, no, yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Not sure how long this will last, but let's try to see. I'll stop my share. No problem. I'm stopping my share. You can share. We do have 3 minutes. Perfect. I can see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Just remove everything and just click on the drop down. Don't click there. Don't click there. Just click on the drop down here. It's okay. No, no. Wherever you are, just click on the down arrow key. Same thing you can do. Just write PX radio and then click on the down arrow key. It should load your this thing. It is, I mean, it is looking for the list. It's slightly slow. That's okay, I think, because of your system having a lower RAM or something, but you should be able to fetch that. You have to type radio. Button is a older control. Yep. See? That's it. Perfect. No problem. Thank you. If you guys have no more questions, I think we can drop for today. Thank you for making time for this class, and you can follow us up on our social platforms also. Thank you. Thanks. Bye.